We got Bryan Barrett on the phone. He held through the break, so we're going to get him before we get the scoreboard. Folks, you can find the scoreboard at our website, FridayNightThunder.com. And while you're out there, you might want to check out the Oak Restaurant. The Oak Restaurant brought us some great pizza tonight. We got pictures of that pizza on our Facebook page, and they can provide pizza for you. It is find out the biggest unkept secret in Manchester, the Oak Restaurant. Joining us on the Oak Restaurant hotline, Bryan Barrett of WGNS in Murfreesboro. Good evening, Bryan.
Hey, Dennis, how are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Had a great night of football, and, football weather finally here. So, it really feels like we're making that push toward the mid-season and got some really good football teams playing here. And so we had a really good night. Oakland, Smyrna still undefeated. Blackman still undefeated. So I had a good broadcast tonight with Mount Juliet and Blackman.
Yeah, we talked to Philip Shadowins a little earlier tonight, and he was talking about that his kids continue to buy in and working hard, and he had all the cliches. But as well as they have played, you got to kind of see some cracks in their armor somewhere. Does it look like that this Blackman team has any sort of weakness?
Well, they played really, really well tonight, and I told you in the pregame show, and I heard your grimace, but I said, this game may be over by halftime, and it really was, and Blackman had a chance to go up 42-0. They fumbled the ball twice on their last two possessions of the first half inside the 5, so it could have been a blowout. It was 28-0, but the cracks, gosh, I don't know. They just play so well. Jawan Jennings is so elusive. Had one miraculous run, and it wasn't the 78-yarder. I mean, he ran 37 yards for one touchdown and made some moves that you just don't see in high school football. Charlie Davidson running the ball well. John had him with almost 600 yards in total offense tonight, and Tom Krager of the DNJ had him about 580, so between 580 and 600 yards in total offense. Offensively, I don't know where their cracks are.
We're talking to Bryan Barrett, Dennis Weaver, and Josh Peterson here on the Friday Night Thunder Scoreboard Show.
Hey, Bryan, talk a little bit about Blackman moving forward. They've got Stewart's Creek next week, and then after that, they've already gotten through Oakland. I mean, really any problems for them along the way? Does it look like they're going to be able to handle business the rest of the way out?
Well, the first week they had to play Oakland. Both teams, state ranked, and they win that ball game. Then they win the next week. Then they have to play Riverdale last week. They were both undefeated. They won that game. Played an undefeated Mount Juliet team tonight, and beat them. So they've gone through a really tough part of the schedule. Just looking up and down the schedule, I don't see a place where they lose a ball game unless you get down to the end of the season in that last game when they travel to Hoover, Alabama. I think that stands to be a really good football game and a good test going into the into the playoffs there. So I would think 9-1, 10-0 is not out of the realm here for the Blaze. They're going to be favored in the rest of their games until that Hoover game, and we'll just have to see when we get that close. It's at the last game of the year.
All right, Bryan, we appreciate it. What game are you going to be? What game are you going to be covering next week?
Well, next week the undefeated Smyrna Bulldogs will take on the 3-1 Oakland Patriots at Smyrna. So that'll be our broadcast game next week, and another great contest on a football Friday night.
All right, Bryan, we appreciate it as always. We will listen to you tomorrow morning on the Coaches Show. Okay.
Sounds good, Dennis. I appreciate it.
That is Bryan Barrett with WGNS and.